Greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to WizdomDropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. Meow. My name is Tonia, and today we are discussing Mercury Retrograde. Bum, bum, bum. Specifically, what the hell is Mercury Retrograde and what you can expect around the different phases. And just to distinguish, I'm talking about the pre-Mercury Retrograde shadow, Mercury retrograde, Mercury moves direct, and also post Mercury shadow. So there's really kind of like more or less stages if you're looking at it from different vantage points. But in today's video, that's what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to talk about when it's pre-shadow, when it's actually retrograde, and when it's post-shadow. But we're going to talk about the moment that it goes direct and as well in this signification. You could also add another step in there. Blah, 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 blah. We're talking about Mercury retrograde, and I'm going to show you the chart for what we're about to experience as of late January 2021. Okay, into late February of 2021. So that's gonna just be a good kind of launching point for us to discuss some of these concepts. What I do want to say before we jump into all the juicy details though, is if this video brings you any value at any time whatsoever, hit the like button because that helps more people get this information for free. Also, if you're new, you can subscribe. And if you are subscribed, hey, I put out a video every single day of the week. Hit the bell notification to get the notification. Okay. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. So let's talk about it by sharing our screen here. Da-da-da. And this is the 30th of January, 2021, when Mercury will go retrograde at 26 degrees of Aquarius. So this, my friends, is the end. When you see the Mercury retrograde starts, it's the end of the pre-Mercury retrograde shadow. And when a planet goes into shadow, basically what that means is it looks like it stopped in the heavens and it's not really doing much of anything. It's just kind of like frozen, okay? And it's not like moving in either direction. It's not going in the primary motion that it normally travels, and it's not going in the backwards apparent motion that it looks like it travels under retrograde, okay? So it's like a weird in-between portal status. It's not actually retrograde, but it's not actually normal, quote unquote, either. So this is this cycle that I'm referencing, the pre-Mercury retrograde shadow, is it actually started January 15th of 2021, and it ends when Mercury actually goes retrograde for real on the 30th of January, okay? So in the last 2 weeks where we've been building up to this particular Mercury retrograde, when I'm going to do another video just on this retrograde in particular, by the way, but when you are talking about in the last 2 weeks, excuse me, it's already happening, this Mercury thing. In the last 2 weeks, you might have noticed different communication patterns or events have shown their head to be prominent areas of discussion or thought, because Mercury rules discussion and thought. And so whenever a planet goes like shadow retrograde, right? Like it's gonna go into retrograde, but it hasn't started yet. When it's in shadow, you'll get an indicator for what is that retrograde season about to be about. Like what is about to happen. And it's almost like prophetic. It's like in the 2 weeks leading up or whatever it is, the shadow period leading up to the event, it will tell you, it will almost be like a weather forecaster on the TV. They'll be like, oh, this event came up on Saturday and that event came up on Wednesday. And this is all within this couple weeks span here. And therefore, these are the themes you're going to probably have to deal with for the next however many weeks. You know what I mean? So that the retrograde lasts. So this is where we are at in this moment of like interpretation. It says the shadow period is like the anchor point almost, or the forecaster for what's about to go down. Now, moving on, the retrograde itself, which is starting on the 30th of January in this recent example, in this present example, which I'm going to do again, another separate video on interpreting the full cycle of, okay? But anyway, this, stage, it appears that the planet is moving backwards in the heavens. So look at how it's 26 degrees and 29 minutes right now. And now I'm going to zoom out and I'm just going to go forward 24 hours, 26 degrees, 19 minutes, forward 25 degrees, 58 minutes, moving on 25 degrees, 26 minutes, 24 degrees 44 minutes. So this is the point, is that the planet appears, to be going backwards, you see, in the heavens as it retrogrades, because when a planet retrogrades, it moves backwards by our visual vantage point here on Earth, at least. Not like literally, but it looks like it. It's crazy. It's like some crazy illusion type stuff. So with that said, when a planet is in fact retrograde and it looks like it's going backwards through the heavens, it's because the theme of life, or maybe not because, not to allocate causality, but one way or another, when this happens, we know that in real life, it tends to be that communications, whatever that planet rules, in this case, Mercury is the planet in question. So this planet rules, Mercury rules communications, logistics, travel, okay, messages, divine downloads, any kind of like official agreements on paper, correspondence, again, like communications. So that covers, all the texts, all the emails, all the phone calls, all the just general conversations. It's all Mercury, baby. That's it. So with that said, when this planet, Mercury, that rules all of that, goes retrograde, it makes all of that harder to deal with. It makes it more challenging. It makes it a little different. It makes it a little odd, a little like out of sorts, a little off brand, if you will, a little like different than the norm, than how it normally functions. So like different type of people are going to have different types of experience under retrograde energies, and especially dependent upon where this planet is currently transiting compared to one's chart, right? Like if this planet is on your natal Mercury while it's doing this, it's going to be even more significant. You see what I'm saying? But the fact remains that when a planet is retrograde, it changes the perception and the experience of the planet. So in this case of communications are different. And you know what? How you interpret that even more specifically, when I say different, you'll be like, what do you mean? Look at the retrograde. It's a little indicator. Anything with the re prefix generally fits. Oh, I'm rethinking that. Oh, I'm replanning this. Oh, I'm reforming, reshaping, redoing. There's just different ways to interpret it, but it's 3 times as deep and 3 times as intense in many ways, because it's 3 times as introspective. Anytime a retrograde of any sort is happening, it's 3 times more internalized. So even if it's Venusian, it'll be 3 times more embodied, because Venus is related more so with embodiment, and it'll be 3 times more apparent in terms of like love and so forth, right? But with Mercury, it's going to be more apparent in terms of relationship in general, platonic, professional, all that, communication based, okay? So that's what I got for you on that topic. Now, when Mercury goes direct, the moment that Mercury goes direct, that is going to tell you, I'm not even going to show you on the screen, we're just going to use it to look at. Whenever Mercury does go direct, that is an important point. And many people will also say the degree that Mercury goes retrograde at. I would agree. I probably should have included that in the phases that I kind of talked about, but I put extra significance on the degree where Mercury goes direct, because with the degree where a planet moves forward from is the point in which, in theory, we have gained wisdom from. At that point in time, think about it with me, y'all. This is my own Tonia astrology interpretation, and it's pretty effing dope, if I do say so myself. So hear this out, okay, philosophers of the skies. When a planet moves forward off of a retrograde, okay, it is at a point where it has gained everything it needed to from that process of reflection, refinement, redefinition, retrograde, right? And it is now ready to move forward anew, more mature, more developed, something that it did not have before, because it is no longer needing to go inward, reflection based, retrograde based. It can now go outward. It can now be what it was supposed to be in the first damn place. You see what I'm saying? So when it moves direct, it becomes more of itself. It's like, I've been reborn. Not quite in a Kazemi, I just conjuncted the sun and got everything that was unholy burnt the hell off of me. Not quite in that way, but in more of a like lived experience type of way, because it's done retrograding and it can move forward with what's it called when you send like a night off or whatever, like with something, with some type of like, you know, gumption, basically. Like it has some type of steadfast. That's the energy I was trying to say. It's a bit more steadfast once it's done. Now, with that said, when it does go direct, it's still in shadow for a period. And this phase is the last phase I'm going to talk with y'all about today. When a planet goes into shadow after it's been retrograded, this is like a final croisening thing. And the perfect image that just came to mind, you know, when you're cooking a lasagna in the oven and maybe you had to put some tinfoil on it while it was cooking so that you could like maintain the moisture level or whatever. You had to put a lid of some form. Maybe it wasn't foil, but you put a lid on it, okay, while it was cooking. But when you are almost ready to eat the lasagna and it's like 10 minutes left, right? And you want to bake the top of that, maybe you got some vegan cashew cheese or something, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to get a little croissant and brown and crisp even, maybe you're into that sort of thing. I'm salivating off of that. But maybe you need to do that. You need to take the lid off of it and let it bake for just a few more minutes. Do you see what I'm saying? That is the post-retrograde shadow. That whole phase is the post-retrograde shadow. The post-retrograde shadow is like, what are the finishing sauces that need to go on this experience of this meal that I just had? You see what I'm saying? Like, where's the vinegar for my salad? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like everything I just got is what I got, but I need to finish it with something. That's the post shadow. Now, different people are going to experience this to different degrees at different points in time, and that all goes into different everything in your chart, just everything with your chart, everything. And also different everything. I don't even need to get into all the list of like, literally your experience of the planetary energies is going to be so different based on what's going on in your chart. Okay. And it can be very specific that you can learn about that from getting a reading with a real astrologer, for example. But anyway, point being, you know, I just think that that's really interesting for your consideration. Thanks for checking out another super groovy video. I hope it brought you value. And if you're still here, you know it did. So hit that like button so that other people can get this for free. And with that said, until next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.